Welcome to a story that begins with a humble flash of coppery red and ends with jaws dropping around the world. Today we dive into the Liberty Lincoln 1 cent from 1986 with the Denver Mint mark, a small circle of metal that millions passed over without a second glance, yet a select few examples have stunned collectors with extraordinary beauty, dramatic minting quirks and a market mystique that turns pocket change into a headline. Stay with me as we unravel why this late 20th century Lincoln cent is far more than a routine coin and how the right combination of condition, appeal and rarity can make the difference between a common find and a life-changing discovery that collectors speak about in hushed voices. Some of the most coveted pieces have been discussed as reaching $34 million, a number that sounds impossible until you understand the forces that create legends in numismatics. Picture the mid-1980s in America. A time of bold music, neon colors, and fast-growing technology. On the smallest coin in daily commerce, the face of Abraham Lincoln continued to stand calm and steady. The 1986 D Lincoln cent carries the classic Victor David Brenner portrait on the front, the stern, thoughtful gaze of a president who guided a nation through its darkest hours. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial stretches with clean lines, and if you look very closely with strong light and a magnifier, you can make out the tiny seated figure of Lincoln inside the memorial. This is a delightful Easter egg beloved by collectors. You are seeing the same historical figure on both sides of a single coin, a clever artistic echo that never loses its charm. Now consider the materials and the moment. By 1986, the United States Mint was striking cents on copper-plated zinc planchets, a practical response to rising metal costs earlier in the decade. That thin copper shell over a zinc core created a bright new luster when fresh from the presses, a blazing red that can look like sunrise on a mirror. But the new composition also introduced challenges. Zinc is softer than the older bronze alloy, so the smallest environmental stress could lead to spots, streaks, and tiny surface bubbles. That means finding a 1986 D with fully original blazing red color, smooth fields and crisp design is far harder than it seems. Most coins went straight into circulation or sat loose in drawers, scraping against keys and other coins. The few that remained untouched, stored carefully from the first day, became the elite survivors that grading professionals reward with the highest mint state designations. Those upper-tier designations are the gateways to serious value. Think about the journey of a single coin. Imagine a 1986 D cent leaving the Denver presses with a razor-sharp strike, smooth fields and brilliant red luster. It falls into a bin with thousands of others, slides into a bag, moves to a bank and then to a store. Each step is a test. One nick from a counting machine, one slide against a metal edge, and perfection is lost forever. This is why top-grade survivors captivate the market. They passed every test. They are time capsules. Now let us turn to the realm that makes collectors sit forward in their chairs, the world of minting varieties and striking errors. While the majority of 1986 D cents are routine, the minting process is a ballet of metal and pressure that occasionally goes off script. Dies can clash without a planchet between them, leaving ghostly outlines of the memorial or letters in the fields. A planchet can be misfed, producing off-center strikes that reveal crescent moons of blank metal along the rim. A die cap can catch and mushroom, spreading design elements in dramatic waves. The wrong planchet can slip in from another denomination, leading to a cent with the wrong weight or a curious color tone that experienced collectors notice immediately. A mint mark can be placed imperfectly, showing slight doubling that sharp eyes can spot under magnification. A hub with microscopic doubling can transfer that doubling to letters in Liberty or in the motto "In God We Trust" or in the date, creating varieties that specialists chase with passion. Not every quirk is valuable, but when the error is dramatic and the condition is superb, the outcome can be electrifying. The path to big money always runs through two gates. The first gate is quality. Coins that still blaze with original red color, that show strong strike details in Lincoln's hair and beard, that have clean fields with minimal chatter, earn higher mint state numbers from top-tier grading services. Collectors speak a common language here. Terms like red red, brown brown, full strike, satiny luster, frosty luster, and eye appeal are not just fancy words. They describe how a coin looks to the human eye when light dances across its surface. The second gate is rarity, which might come from a tiny surviving population at a very high grade or from a spectacular mint era that very few people will ever see in person. When a coin passes through both gates, the auction room grows quiet. This is where the whispers begin that a piece could command 6 figures or even push into the realm of legend. That is where the story of .34 million enters the conversation, a reminder that in the world of collecting the extremes do exist and the right coin can rewrite expectations. Let us walk through a practical checklist so you can evaluate your own 1986 D Lincoln cent with confidence. First, look at overall color. Bright original red that looks fresh and even across both sides is a powerful signal. Dull brown or dark spotting usually means circulation or improper storage. Second, tilt the coin under a strong light and watch the luster rotate. Healthy mint luster will cartwheel in smooth bands across the fields. Third, study the strike. On the obverse, look at Lincoln's cheek and jawline for clean contours. Look at the hair above the ear, where weak strikes show first. On the reverse, examine the steps of the memorial and the clean lines of the columns. Fourth, inspect the surfaces. Even a single prominent mark can hold a coin back from elite levels. Fifth, hunt for varieties. Use a loop of 10 power or better and study the motto, the date Liberty, and the mint mark D. Search for doubling notching at letter tip, split serifs, or any unusual separation lines. Sixth, measure the weight if you have a precise scale. A standard copper-plated zinc cent of this era should be close to 2.5 grams. If you see a notably different weight along with a visual clue, you may be dealing with a wrong planchet error that demands expert attention. Grading is an art guided by standards. When a coin is sent to a respected grading service, it is encapsulated and assigned a grade on the 70-point scale created by numismatic pioneer William Sheldon. For modern cents, a jump from mint state 65 red to mint state 67 red can be staggering in value because the population thins dramatically. At the top of the mountain, tiny differences in luster, contact marks and strike can mean the difference between an excellent coin and an elite trophy. That is why serious collectors look for certified examples when true money is on the line. A beautifully preserved 1986 D with a dramatic and obvious error becomes a crossover star desired by both modern specialists and error collectors who love visual wow factor. Provenance tells the second half of any great coin story. When a piece comes from a notable collection or records an eye-opening price at a respected auction house, that history becomes part of the coin. Each time it trades hands, the legend grows. A headline may mention a spectacular off-center strike with full blazing color or a jaw-dropping die cap with mirrored fields or a wrong planchet that bends the mind. In a market shaped by rarity and narrative, that history can be as valuable as the metal itself. This is how a tiny coin minted for everyday life becomes an artifact that people fly across the country to see. This is how numbers like .34 million become part of the lore that keeps collectors searching. For the treasure hunter at home, there is a simple ritual that can turn a rainy afternoon into an adventure. Gather your loose change, find a bright desk lamp, grab a soft cloth, a 10-power loop, and a notepad. Spread the cents gently and let the light reveal hidden detail. Every so often you will pause. A rim looks unusually wide. A letter shows a split tip. The memorial steps look sharper than the rest of the batch. You flip the coin, and your pulse quickens. Maybe it is nothing. Maybe it is something. The beauty of the Lincoln Cent series is that discoveries still happen. Bags sat untouched for decades. Rolls slept in bank vaults. Collections were inherited and set aside. The story has not finished. The real secret is patience and knowledge. Learn what a normal 1986 D looks like so that an abnormal one leaps out at you. Study high-grade photographs of known beauties to calibrate your eye for luster and strike. Read about error types so that when you see a bowing arc of metal or an oddly placed design element, you can name it and understand its rarity. Keep careful notes. When you believe you have something special, do not clean it, do not rub it, do not slide it across a hard surface. Place it in a protective holder and seek expert guidance. The wrong move can erase value in seconds, while the right care can preserve a fortune. There is also the emotional side of collecting that numbers can never capture.